Hey there, all you crazy canaries. This is Four Cats, meow 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 meow, coming at you live from the city that never sleeps with episode 7 of Let's Dev. Now, this is Adam with ACG at itch.io, back for another episode 7 of Let's Dev. We're going to continue working on the texture. We can finally start texturing this. And I apologize to everybody who watched my last episode and stuck with me for the entire time I was silently noodling with the UV sheet, but learning new software, trying new things, it's always fun, but can be a bit of a challenge sometimes. Got a little heads down in what I was working on and forgot to podcast, but we're going to try not to do that this time. I'm going to try to keep the conversation going and work on our texture sheet all at the same time. Now let me get set up over here in Photoshop. We got to bring in our UV maps that we exported. I actually just to show, and this is not really meant to be a tutorial for Blender so much as just a recorded devlog, but for everyone who was watching me struggle through selecting the UV sheet that I wanted to have mapped to a specific material, I just was messing around with this again, and I realized that I could have the entire time just picked that material and hit select, and there, I've got everything selected that is assigned to that material. That's all I would have needed to do, instead of all of that selecting and deselecting phases, taking the engines back out. Uh, Blender is an amazing tool, but you just have to know how to use it, and that's the way it is with almost everything in game design. Is having the right tool for the job, and a lot of them are even, at least right now, are not something you have to pay to use, but there is that learning curve, that barrier that just kind of gets in your way. You gotta kind of, even though I would love to be able to just work in Maya and never have to worry about that kind of stuff, sometimes you gotta push through and just figure out what you need to do. But enough making excuses for myself. Let me get these UV sheets. That should be just, since I know how to do this now, just make sure that this all looks pretty much the same. Yeah, I think that's all correct. Let's get painting. I'm just gonna merge those layers. I could have just exported a new image, but I was already set up from last time. I thought to myself, why not? And let's see. Gonna want some of that grunge texture. Now these are 512s. Oh no, wait, are they 1024s? Did I do my engines as 1024s? I didn't mean to do that. Oh well, I can look into that later. I feel like I almost would rather have these as 512s. Just because, whoops. Just because it will give me more of that texture on each of these smaller pieces. Of the UV map. And it's a tiling texture, so it's really not any extra effort to do this. I guess a small amount. I am doing things, so that technically is effort, I suppose. And I want one of these on multiply again to just bring in the darker colors. I want to say we probably had the opacity around 50, maybe 60% for the engines, and that'll keep everything looking more or less consistent. Then this one I'm going to do to additive layer to just bring in the lighter tones. Or will I do a color dodge? No. No, I'm just going to do add. Bring that down to about 55. That'll work. And then don't want that everywhere though, so I'm gonna kind of grab a little. No, I want. Oops, I know I want this. These are those. At the end of the day, this was all of the UV sheet that I could spare for those fuel lines we were making in the last video. But I think with the way we're doing these textures, as long as I don't try and put a bunch of detail into it, it should be okay. Is there anything else that's going to be super dark? Because I just want these lighter tones on parts of the model that are going to be very dark color to begin with, because it's not going to pick up the grunge of the multiply layer, because it's just dark tones on dark tones. But an additive layer, it'll give it a nice variety of colors and make it look like it's not pristine and perfect, but a little bit dirty, like a racing ship would be. Oh, you know what? I don't know what I'm gonna wind up wanting to have that color on. So I'm just gonna name this add layer and make it invisible for now, because once I get all of the flat color sections put in, then we can go back and decide what's dark enough to need an additive layer. Let's get. We know we want that. That's the fuel line cable again, right there. I think I'm going to also put a stripe down the middle. Yeah, right about like that. Start getting some of that orange color put in. Let's see, how did everything on the engines? Mostly just this orange. I don't remember what this oh, I guess that's the gold from the little decorations in the engines. It's not one of our main, you know, the company colors, whatever sponsors this racer, that's not the specified colors that they're supposed to be showing. Start bringing in some of that. So we want pretty sure this is the edge of one of the wings. Always a good place to put a splash of alternate color. Here's probably a good spot. Bit of that wing. Just a stripe down the middle there. let's see. Okay, this would be maybe a cool spot to do the same thing, but leave just a little gap in between. And then maybe do this. A little cutout in that racing stripe. I think I want this edge I don't actually remember what this edge belongs to, but we'll go ahead and shade that orange too. Be a little surprised when we go back to Blender. Surprise pop of color. I'll probably get mad too. I'm gonna get mad in that episode and be like, where did that pop of color come from? Somebody's gonna have to remind me. No, that's too risky, Adam. Follow your UVs, and then you know it will line up on the top and the bottom more or less. Dead air. Oh, thank you. Thank you, my love. I must remember to speak on the podcast.
Otherwise, is it a podcast?
Otherwise, is it really a podcast? The answer is no.
No.
It's a failure. My father was right about me. That's what he always used to tell me growing up, was your podcast will never go anywhere. always used to tell me you can't fight City Hall, so don't even try.
So don't even try.
Don't even try.
Homer, what kind of message is that to tell your children?
What? I tell them that every day.
I told them that last night before they went to bed.
Right before they went to bed.
It is true, though. You can't fight City Hall.
So don't even try.
So don't even try.
Don't even try. We are gonna go back and we're gonna get Lisa that Lego piece for the Eiffel Tower set. I remember way too much about the details of what was happening in that part of the show.
Anywhoozle, sorry to derail you there, buddy.
Well, that's alright. I didn't, like you said. Ta-da. Ta-da. Give me some, give me some potato chips. I'll just crunch those into the mic. It'll be we'll get a real NPR thing going on where I'll just like slurp coffee directly into the microphone.
Jesus. I'm just gonna eat crackers.
People will tune in for that, right? Like people like that.
I think so.
I don't know. I think my cat disagrees.
Yeah, Luna did not seem. To be fair, I think that she's a little bit offended by the Bormio.
I think she's a little bit, yeah. I actually only have one cat, so I shouldn't be calling myself four cats. But you know, there was three dog. And if I'm gonna do a persona, you know, like I'm gonna be one more. I'm gonna be four. And then you know, I'm gonna probably be cats, because I love dogs, but if I'm one or the other, you know, then I'm a cat.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're
I don't think anybody could, you know, make an argument against that. Um, oh yeah, here's another spot that I'm gonna make sure right now while I'm thinking about it I do this, because I do want to erase that grunge map. I'm on that grunge map multiplication layer. I'm just going to erase that behind the part of the UV map. I definitely recognize this as the cockpit canopy. And that's the one spot I imagine, you know, if that were to get dirty, that's when you pull over and, you know, and you get your canopy cleaned off. Like, I imagine that's the one time that, like, even a racer would stop to deal with that.
I think someone wants up in your lap.
Oh, you want up here? Are you going to be courteous of my work time?
No.
No.
I'm not. I'm gonna be uncourteous.
She doesn't love my game development work.
Well, it's because you're supposed to give 100% of your attention to your cat at all times. You're kind of a monster for not doing that.
I mean, I feel like I give a lot of attention to my cat, though.
You do. You give her a lot of attention. But it's not enough.
Not enough. All right.
Not nearly enough.
And that's why I'm for cat. Meow 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 meow. Coming at you live from a pre-recorded video. In the Pukey News. In the Pukey News. All right. Get a little bit of that going. And a little bit of that. That'll make a pretty decent cockpit canopy. Oh, and I guess while I'm at it, I know I was thinking that these side parts of the ship would get, whoops, the stripes. It's going around. Maybe right here too. Woo. Woohoo. Let's see. Right there. That means we'll want to do the same right here. That should line up fairly well. Oh yeah, and right here. There we go. Gonna do an outline over that layer, so let's go ahead and just break this off into a new layer. New layer, move down, new layer, move down.
Are you in my seat, kitten?
Well, you stood up, so.
Did you scratch your eye, baby?
Oh, she got something? She look like she's okay?
She's okay, but she was just kind of squinching one eye. You okay, Luna? Little baby. I think she was just fishing for attention.
No, she not looking like she's favoring it quite so much anymore.
Oh, as soon as I started petting her and like cooing over her, her eyes, like she stopped squinching the one eye and she's just full luxuriating. Are you feeling better now that you're getting attention? No. Adam wasn't paying attention to. No, I'm not gonna. You're in my seat, sweetie. This is abuse. You're abusing Luna?
You abuse Luna?
You hate Luna?
That should have said Racer 3. Gonna get confused later when I'm looking for the working file. But, oh well.
That's a problem for future Adam.
It's a problem for future Adam, and fuck that guy. Never even liked him, no how.
Alright, sweetie. This is my seat. It was mine first. Okay, thank you.
We shan't hear the end of this. Didn't necessarily mean for that name to pop up on my screen, but since it already did, Misty Lorene was my teacher, taught me how to use 3D art programs. And she's okay. She's an okay lady. Ooh, you know what? I'm going to do a little bit around this wing. That'll be a cool place for a little extra detail. And maybe right here too. honestly, while we're at it, it's another one of those kind of I took a couple of days break working on this ship. Um, After doing the UV unwrap, and I'm not gonna lie, I've forgotten what some of this is mapped to, but I can kind of guess just from looking at it. And it'll be, kind of a fun adventure to see what everything was. We'll enjoy that. We'll enjoy that together in a future episode. Let's see here. Put a line right through here. Pretty sure this is the edge of one of the main wings. While I'm here, I do think I might go ahead and just put that outline on. Just to kind of get an idea of where all of that. Hoping that these outlines will just kind of read as little grooves where the racer was assembled all the different parts and pieces. Like panels of the ship that have been put together. Let me think, what else can I do? maybe. A little bit of something like this. Let's turn this back on. I can pretty safely say that I'm going to want do do do. That and this. And that's about it. I kind of want to bring this over and go ahead and apply it and just see kind of where we're at. Get that surprise. Oops. Actually, that one I'm going to save again. Well, actually, I guess I don't really need to do that because I can just rename the file. It's already. I'm probably going to save over this a couple of times anyway. But I want that to be Racer 3. It's going to wind up overwriting something that's already in the engine if I don't. Because I have a Racer 1. Although that one is real rough. All of this art will probably be replaced with much more detailed and elaborate and just things that I'm going to go back and take a lot more time on. But, you know, time is money. And I need to devote that extra time to something that might. If I find something that people enjoy playing, that'll be the thing that gets that extra attention. Well, that's already coming together pretty nicely. Can't honestly say that I hate any of that. Yeah, I was a little bit worried about those fuel lines with all the sort of trouble I was having with getting the UV layout. I really do think my advice to anybody using Blender would be maybe delete the underneath faces, delete that edge loop. But really don't worry about retopoing it at all. Just leave it the way it was. And I mean, I I second guessed myself because it would have never been able, Maya would have never been able to make extrude along a curve geometry have that nice of a UV layout just auto generated. But I really think it would have turned out better than what I have here if I just hadn't messed with it, if I just left it alone. And that's my 2 cents. If you're doing a similar project and you're wondering, should I try and do that? Should I try and follow along with that part? You don't. I wouldn't. You know, I wouldn't. But you live and learn. You live and learn, and you then get loves. Or maybe you see too many diaper commercials when you're growing up and you decide not to have kids. That's
Yeah. Or, you're one of the older kids in a large extended family.
oh yeah,
One of the
yeah.
older girls in a large extended family in the Midwest.
Then you definitely don't want to have kids.
Yeah.
We grew up in the Midwest, by the way. I don't know if that was. I just made my computer bingling. It's mad at me. Okay, so. Well, I'm pretty sure this is, once again, risky business. Actually, that using that large of a brush is very risky business. And also, I think it was on the wrong quad. That more or less lines up. Let me see. I think the problem is more on this end. Because this just kind of rounds off a little too quickly. look at that. Lines up quite well. Do kind of feel like I might want to let me see. Is that all of this weird little bit of geometry? Oh, I can't even see it on this UV. But I'm still gonna try. Zoom it out. Do do do. Gotta see what I'm doing. Do do do. This one I'm pretty sure. Just like that. Yeah, okay. That looks fine. To my eye, that looks fine. Maybe a little bit wonky, but looking at it from back here, oops. There we go. Looking at it from back here, it's kind of about like this. And it will animate in the game, but I'm not gonna be seeing those specific corners that often. Let's see. Go ahead and increment this one more time. So I'm still not sure about the scaling, and I'd really like to make sure I get that right before. And honestly, we're all textured. I was actually pretty worried about how in the weeds I kind of got on the unwrap. But ooh, before I do that, gotta remember to rasterize that layer style. And let's go ahead and get that blurred a little bit so it's not so got such hard edges and weird anti-aliasing. see, which one was the... Let's blur that as well a little bit. There we go. A little bit smoother. Hmm. Wow, 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 huh. Wow, 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 wow. Oh, you know, I think I could wind up noodling this texture for another lifetime, but I think I'm gonna say that's probably good. In the spirit of perfect is the enemy of done, I'm gonna call that good. That means I can finally take everything join it into one active object, give it a name, oh, and it looks like the origin of the object actually defaulted to that double torus ring, which is right where I would have wanted it anyway. So that's perfect. Right at the world origin. It's a good spot for it. Got to apply that edge split modifier, but that's okay. We can do that now. I was wanting it the same on the whole ship anyway. Actually, I think that's a little bit more, and I don't know if I actually want to make it too much more narrow. And if anything, I guess maybe no, you know what? No, I designed it this way, and it looks fine. Just get that edge split, apply it, then we'll finally, well, not that it was really that much of an effort, but we will be able.
It was effort. Come on. Don't downplay your work.
Although I will stand by that I'm acting as though this was an incredible amount of time to spend on building a 3D model, and really it's not. Overall, that
Did you have a good time?
I had a good time. It was fast, it was loose, it was free form. I stand by my work, as always. I actually think, Racer 2 was my favorite while I've been prototyping the game, but I might be getting a run for its money with Racer 3. I'm actually very pleased with the way this turned out. And it should be very quick and easy to rig. I don't want to make that promise yet, because you never know until you actually get into it, but it does look like some of these have come apart, though. Let's see. Ooh, wait. Okay, well. Actually concerned that I might have made a little bit of a mistake here, so I'm going to go back to my Last increment. Perfect, that's all good. And let me just go through. Let's go through and apply these beforehand. Because, oh, yeah. All right. Very curious indeed. I'm not sure how that all came about, but I can fix it easier while it's all separate. Because, you know, no one really cares about three-legged chairs except for Adam. I can fix it. Oh, remove 20 vertices. Okay, well. Don't even need to adjust. They are literally right on top of each other. Is that you? You're fixed. Is that you? You're fixed. Very good. What about you?
Who you? Who you?
Who you? Who you? Who you? Who you? And 26 vertices. All right. Well, glad we did that. Let's just test a few again. All right. Beautiful. Take all of that. Join it together one more time. We're gonna celebrate. Oh yeah. All right. Let's start the dancing. Call that Racer 3. Oh, this time it didn't do the... Now I will have to adjust the origin, but that's fine. Takes literally no effort at all. Scale this down. 0.9. And we are right back where we were, but with that middle seam all merged together properly. I don't know if you had seen the weird lighting that was happening on this back fin, but that was because the geometry was non-manifold. Very
not on.
Very not on. thing to have happen.
They're cool, man.
Cool, man. You sick.
You sick, cool, man. You sick. Get out of here. Get out of here, cool, man. You sick. The power's gone to your head.
Hope that show comes back just, without American Johnny or whatever his name was.
Honestly, at work, I've had a couple of times where I've basically just been that old lady. Just, you're going too fast, cool, man. You're going slow down. You're going too fast. You're sick. The power's gone to your head. Get out. And then I'm like, oh God, you gotta calm down, dude. I'm like, no.
Everyone else needs to calm up. Alright, well, it looks like that's been just over an hour now, so we'll probably go ahead and call it there. I would love to actually start rigging and talk to y'all about that, and I don't know if it's going to make a full episode, although I did say we were going to follow this art piece down the pipeline all the way from the start into the engine and actually get some animations hooked up and get it playable in the game that I'm making. So I suppose we can just look forward to all of that being on the next episode, and we'll get this rigged up, get a couple of animations exported, and actually maybe get to see it in action just a little bit in Unreal Engine. We'll be using 4.27.2 for this one. I love Unreal 5, don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to develop games right now that can be tested on a wide variety of computers, even if you don't have um, the latest graphics capabilities or anything like that. And going the traditional route in 4.27, baked lighting, disabled ray casting, all of that kind of stuff. Just makes that a lot easier to do. And, the temptation, I'll admit, the temptation to use metahumans is so great when working in Unreal 5. But it's just, I can't put that on itch because the files are immediately too big. They're such a big thing that you put a metahuman in your game and you're already 1.5 gigabytes, even compressed. So it's, for the future of ACG or any of the other various, I might still be in something called Blueberry Octopus. I am not sure. But if any of the things that I develop games with work out, you'll probably be seeing a lot of Unreal 5 projects. But that'll be down the road when I can really focus on trying to make something that's at the cutting edge. And right now, I just want to make something that people can play and have fun. So I hope you did have fun watching this video, and I will see y'all next time.